Hey, welcome to Black Gumbo. Welcome back. Can we start a garden? A late winter garden? Let's try. Alright, well, I'm really glad to be back. I've missed all you guys. I've missed making videos for my channel, but I tell you what, it's been a brutal summer, really hot, lots of storm challenges, and you know, everything, this 2020 has just been a crazy year. But I'm back. And I think it's not too late to start a winter garden in Zone 9. In fact, in Zone 9, our first frost date comes in the latter half of December. It's between December 16th and 31st. And then our last frost date is somewhere in the end of January. And that's just an average. So we have about a month of risk, maybe 2 months if it's a cold winter. Some winters, like last year, you could just grow and start anything anytime you wanted, and it would grow if it was a winter crop. This year, I don't know if the winter's going to be like that, but I'm going to give it a try. It is a little bit late to start some of these things from seed that I plan on starting. But, you know, better late than never, especially if we have a mild winter, we could start seeds anytime. That's the benefit of Zone 9. So for all of you in the northern zones above me, you guys probably are already got your fall gardens well underway. Some of you are probably harvesting from those gardens. Maybe some of you are finished now and you're taking your winter break. Here I take a summer break. That's why I haven't been answering your questions. That's why I haven't been posting much and doing any videos. But we're going to start working on our garden this week, right now. I'm going to start today. However, we have a big rain event coming. There's a tropical storm, another one out in the Gulf that's going to head this way this week and dump a bunch of rain here. So I'm probably not going to sow seeds directly in the ground, but I'm going to start some in trays under lights. I got a lot of garden cleanup to do. My summer garden is still growing, still producing. So for right now, I'm going to show you what's going on at the end of my summer garden, what things look like, what we've produced, and we'll take a quick tour of that garden. And then I'll show you what I'm going to plant this fall, and we'll leave it at that for this video. We're going to show you the plans, and we'll start moving toward a winter garden, a fall. I call it a fall garden. It's really a winter garden. We're going to move towards that in the coming week, and I'll be posting videos of progress. So let me show you what we've got now. The citrus is beginning to ripen, and that's always a good sign. Usually we get a bunch of lemons in December, but we're getting a few lemons ripening already and weighing down the tree. So we'll be making some lemon curd and giving away some lemons. It's a positive sign. My cowpeas. Now these cowpeas have been putting on fruit for me, or pods like that. I have a rat, and the rat that ate my sweet potatoes also comes along and eats every little bean out of the pod. So I've been harvesting them when they're a little bit young, because the rat seems to only come and like them when they are nice and plump. Here's when I like to harvest purple hull peas. Here's what I've been forced to harvest when they're still green. I'll let them dry out here. These are two of my kogigu pumpkins that I had left from the summer garden, and they actually turned out quite nice. But yeah, that guy has basically devastated this little bed here, and I've tried to catch him. I've got a trap, but he's a little guy. I've seen him, and he can get the bait off the trap without triggering it, so I had to come up with another idea. He hasn't bothered my peppers. These are nice peppers that are a good substitute for bell peppers. My beans have been doing well. I've got all these morning glory vines growing through here. This is the bane of my existence in summer, all these morning glories. Here's one of the big problems of my area. It's a beautiful problem. It's these morning glories. Now I get these morning glories growing every single year, and you can see they attract the pollinators, but they're quite the weed, and they choke out pretty much everything. But they only come in the very late summer. I don't have a problem with them throughout the spring. They don't really grow in the spring. So because they only come around in the summer, I kind of let them just grow. I'll clear them out where I need them cleared out. But like on these beans and on this mustard green, yeah, I just let it kind of grow. My greens have been doing well, and they've gone to seed. As you can see, amongst all the morning glory, there's lots of seed pods there. This mustard green was a very good green. Here are my other cowpeas here. You can see that they're also competing with the morning glories and putting on pods. I've got peppers growing over here, lots of different kinds of peppers. and they are also nearly covered up with morning glories and weighted down from wind from the tropical storms and rain that we've had. But these peppers have been producing tons and tons. This is a particular Dieguito jalapeno pepper. Very nice jalapeno. My marigolds have been growing like bushes. This whole section will be planted with fall stuff. It's ready to be planted. I just need to rake the mulch off the top. Over there we've got the lima beans. I'm going to leave the lima beans for the fall and winter garden because they're putting on another flush of fruit. You can see the flowers there, and I like these beans, so we're going to get another batch of limas off of those and leave them there. My eggplant has been producing lots of fruit. This is the eggplant that struggled with the spider mites, and we recovered this plant with neem oil, and it basically started over. Both of these plants. Now this one's done here. This one has seen better days, as you can see. It's just done. I think that's a matter of lack of water. There are two plants planted close together here, and this one's the smaller one. This one's the bigger one, has a bigger root system and has survived. So that's coming out soon too, to make room for fall crop. Here's the other cowpea patch. I've harvested some cowpeas, and we got a good harvest out of these. But like I said, when I planted these are mainly a summer holdover crop. It's a ground cover, it's a soil amendment improver, it's a nitrogen fixer. And so over there and over here, we'll be pulling all those cowpeas out, making room for root crops and winter crops and lettuce, and things like that. See over there, my muscadine grapes, they did well this summer. Got a heavy harvest off of all these muscadines. You can see now they're done for the year, and the leaves are starting to yellow. They'll start dropping their leaves as the cooler weather comes in, and we will be able to trim those when they go dormant. Down below those, I have more sweet potatoes. These sweet potatoes are growing in pots. You can't even see the pots. There's so many vines here. But these guys have not shown yellow on their leaves yet. They've just now started flowering, and that's one of the signs that it's starting to build up tubers, is when it flowers. So we'll leave that until the leaves yellow. And over here, some refugee peppers that have been producing peppers for me. Same thing over here in my other bed, my newest bed here, refugee peppers. Figs have been producing. I've been eating figs. In fact, some of the figs are still producing. They're a little bit late, but there's some of them are on a different schedule than others. Some of the fig plants are starting to drop their leaves and go dormant. You can see this guy over here with the yellow leaves is starting to be done, while others are still putting on fruit. Now, I've had snow on top of some of these fruits in the past. Some of these fig trees are late producers. We'll see if we get some ripe fruit from them. I don't think we will. Not enough leaves on some of these to support the fruit. But that's the state of the figs. Over here I've got my citrus that's stressed out because it's been a very hot summer, and they've not been transplanted into larger pots, so they're water stressed, and you can tell they're curling their leaves. All my citrus is curling its leaves. But I do have some fruit coming on, which probably shouldn't let that fruit develop on such a small plant, but hey, that's what you do sometimes. You get excited. These little guys are quite spicy. This little plant's been producing a lot of them. This is a pepper plant from 2 years. It's been here, this is at the end of its second year, I should say. Look at all the fruit I'm getting off this. Just keep this guy fertilized, trimmed back, and it produces tons of these chili peppers. These are a spicy hot chili pepper, a good substitute for jalapenos in a salsa. In fact, I think this is garden salsa variety pepper. I don't remember, and the tag is long since gone. But yeah, this is a good pepper, and that's lots of fruit there. I'll keep that guy going as long as I possibly can. This is my other new raised bed, and in this bed I had green beans along here, and they were about as tall as that post and had taken over that entire post, and they produced good beans for me. I put in some refugee pepper plants here, and that's the one that I pruned, and it pushed out a little more than it was. That's the one that I didn't prune, and it stayed short, and it is bushy naturally but hadn't grown very tall. This is an experimental bed. I have not put any kind of fertilizer in here. All I've done is put expired potting soil on top of a bunch of dead wood. It's almost like a hugelkultur bed. The beans did well. Their roots are left in there. They probably are amending that soil a bit through decomposition, but this is not a very fertile bed. I'm going to have to improve this bed a bit. So we'll put some compost in there before we plant our winter crops and that. Probably going to be some lettuce in here. I had radishes in here last year. As soon as I built this bed, I sowed radishes in there and they grew just fine. Here are the sweet potatoes, and we're going to harvest these sweet potatoes. Probably dig some of them up today. You can see that the rats have enjoyed some of them, and that's discouraging, but yeah, we need to get those out of there. But the sweet potatoes, you harvest sweet potatoes at the first sign of yellowing leaves. So I'm going to harvest these. I harvested some of these and I got some small sweet potatoes out of them. We'll probably go ahead and harvest all of this. About a gallon of small sweet potatoes, a couple of large ones in there like that, and we would have had more, especially this big guy. I was looking at this big guy. It was close to the surface. All these were close to the surface, and you can see the risk of having sweet potatoes close to the surface is that rats have access to them. So these are all casualties of our rats. Phoebe, you didn't do your job. You didn't catch the rats. And so you can see, no Phoebe, you can see about half as much as that is in here has been destroyed. And that's the risk you have if you've got vermin around. But in a survival situation, obviously you would cut the eaten part off of that and you'd have some sweet potato. You know, you could have half a sweet potato there, or you could use this as stock to make slips and grow your sweet potatoes again. But here's the ones we got. Lots of little ones. They call these baby ones in the store, and they charge you more money for that. There's a regular potato from our previous crop of spuds. But yeah, not terribly bad, but not as much as I had wanted. Had we got those as well, I'd have been happy. So that is a harvest from containers. So growing sweet potatoes in containers, you gotta have a lot of space and a lot of room. And it's not going to give you the biggest return on your investment. So you can do it. You can grow sweet potatoes in containers. We've shown that. Will you get a giant harvest? Not necessarily. We'll wait and harvest that one and the other ones on the other side of the yard when the leaves start to turn yellow, and we'll see what we get out of those. But hey, I'm not going to complain that I got about a gallon and a half. I guess that's how much that is of sweet potatoes. Okay, well, here I am in my little garage workshop contemplating what I'm going to plant this fall/winter. I know I'm going to plant some cilantro. Got to have some cilantro. I'm going to try some spinach. I have two different kinds of spinach, some Bloomsdale and some Americana. I'm going to plant spinach, and I'm going to just kind of plug spinach in wherever I have a place. I'm going to start those in seed trays and then transplant them out. I'm also going to plant a lot of lettuce. Last year I had success starting lettuce in seed trays way late. I think I started them in December, maybe even January, in seed trays, and then just plugged them in the holes in my cinder blocks. And I had lettuce all the way through until the summer heat got too bad. And I had grown this. This was butter crunch. So I'm going to do some of this. I'm going to do some Aunt May's Bib, some red romaine, some red salad bowl, some red velvet lettuce, and some 3 Heart lettuce. All these I got at Seed Savers Exchange, which is one of the few places that actually has seeds in stock right now. What with Corona Chan going on, everybody panicking that it's the end of the world. And plant a garden, find some seeds, save some seeds. I'm also going to try to plant some greens, perhaps, some Chinese greens. This is actually a cabbage. I do have some Chinese greens. Here they are. I'm going to plant some Canton Bok, some Chinese kale, and these are actually kind of brassicas like cabbage, so we'll start those probably in trays and some in the ground. I'm going to plant some Brussels sprouts. I really ought to have these going. I'm going to start them in trays and see about planting some of them in the ground as well. I am going to do some cabbage. I'm going to start the cabbage in trays. I grew this Hilton cabbage last year. Beautiful, wonderful cabbage. And I made lots of kimchi with this. This is an awesome cabbage. I got to grow it again. I grew some heading cabbage last year. I grew this Glory of Einkhausen. And I also grew this Mammoth Red Rock. And I grew some Brunswick. And they were nice heading cabbages. And they headed up real nice. And they made great sauerkraut. And they made great food. The only problem is they take up a lot of space. These Hilton cabbages also take up a lot of space. So I'll grow some. I'll start them, and if I have room, I'll plug them in. But man, it's hard to pass up cabbage. It grows through the frost. It did just fine. All of these grew through our very few frosty days. We only had one day last winter that I remember where the water that I keep outside to check for ice actually froze over. Maybe we had 2 or 3 of those days, but very few. I'm going to grow carrots. I've got a bunch of different kinds of carrots, some old seed, some new seed. I'm going to use a lot of this up, and I'm going to plant some carrots. We love carrots, and last year we had a beautiful, wonderful carrot bed, and we just ate carrots all spring, and they were delicious. So I'm going to plant some Magnolia Seed Supply gave us these carrots. I think these are Danvers half long. I'm going to plant some more Parisian, these little short carrots, some more Danvers, some fresh seed, some red cord Châtenay, I guess, some ox hearts. I'm going to plant some, I don't know how to say that. I'd have to go to my French friend, but you can see these yellow carrots, and I'm going to enjoy carrots again in the spring. Carrots will grow through our winter here, no problem. Even if it snowed and iced over, they do fine. I'm also going to plant some more root crops. I'm going to plant some radishes, but not a whole lot of radishes. I've got a lot of different kinds of radish here. I've got all these Chinese red radishes, this Malaga. That was my favorite that was my favorite white kneaded radish last year. It was delicious. This is the radish you want to introduce your friends to if they don't like radishes or have never had them. Then I'm going to plant some Chinese red meat. This is my all-time favorite cabbage. They also call it a watermelon cabbage, but it's called Chinese red meat in most places. This is a delightful, mellow cabbage, radish, and it's absolutely delicious. I'm going to plant some beets as well, and probably some turnips this year, and maybe some of these icicle radishes, these French breakfast radishes. So some root crops for sure. That's almost everything I'm going to plant. I'm also going to try some peas, some Amish snap peas, some snow peas, and some maestro peas. I grew peas last year, but the radishes that they were intercropped with took them over, and I only got a few peas off of it. Growing peas in our climate should be possible across the winter. They grow fine. The heat's what kills them. So we probably have until March or April to get those going, or to get a crop from them. That's plenty of time. So that's what I'm growing this year. And those are the things that you'll see me putting in the ground or putting in seed trays in our next videos as we start our late fall, early winter garden. Things didn't go as I planned. Like I said, I would have liked to have things in the ground now. Tropical storms, having to get a new roof, all kinds of challenges. We got another tropical storm coming and going to dump a bunch of rain on us this week, so it's not the time to put seeds in the ground if we're going to get, 5, 10, 15 inches of rain dumped on us. That'll wash all my seeds away. So we'll be planting our in-ground seeds after that. But watch my channel. We're back now. We're going to start making some videos, not as frequently as we do in the spring, but we're going to start having some regular uploads. And I really am going to try to get with all your questions. I know I've kind of skipped out on all the questions in the comments, but I'll try to look at those. Hey, thanks for joining me on Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. I hope you're gardening in the winter and fall as well. You can garden indoors, you can garden in containers, whatever it is. I hope you're doing something to grow some food. Happy gardening to you. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Like our videos, share them if they're useful. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.